ahead and continue our media availabilities. We're now joined by William Byron, driver of the number 24 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. William, earlier today you got to go up to the Daytona 500 Champions Walk of Fame, and you got to see your car for the first time. Can you tell this group what that was like for you?
Yeah, it was really fun. I really haven't, during the season given the Daytona 500 much thought, but I think that, going there, seeing the car in person was definitely a chance to kind of relive it, and it was special. So, yeah, really cool. Really, really cool day, and, yeah, definitely. I always think about it when I see the trophy, but to see the car was pretty cool.
Awesome. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. If you have one, please raise your hand, and we will get a mic over to you. We'll start right here with Matt.
Matt Weaver, Sports Not. Got two for you, William. How is this year's kind of summer slump that you guys kind of went through similar or different to last year? And do you feel confident that you can kind of turn it back on the way that you guys did last year too?
Yeah, I mean, we're just up and down in the summer. I think we still had some races that were pretty good. Iowa comes to mind, and there were a couple others. But the tracks I think aren't super strong for us. I don't know if we just don't put emphasis on it enough in the off season or what. But we've been trying to get better at those tracks. But really, we focus on the tracks that are in the playoffs and in the start of the year. And we try hard every week, but I think that really the tracks suit us as we go throughout the playoffs. So that's what my focus is, and I feel like we're just starting to kind of turn up the performance again and feel good about that.
And then kind of an unorthodox question. You've never experienced something in racing like the charter negotiations, and obviously you can't influence that or you can't be a part of that process. But yeah. I'm curious, are you following that? Are you monitoring? And what is kind of your general feelings about watching that play out behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really pay attention to the business side that much. It really is just I really just focus hard on what I can do, what I can control, and but I do read the articles and look at everything and kind of get an idea of what is going on and how it's evolving. But yeah, I just kind of want to be a good race car driver and win a bunch of races and hopefully the sport's around for a long time that I can do that. So I think it would concern me if something was going on where we weren't going to race or something like that. But I don't really pay much attention. Mm-hmm.
We'll come over here to Owen and then to Lee and John.
Well, you got your first win at this track. What does that mean to you to have so much success at Daytona?
I mean, there's a lot of luck involved, as we all know, and I feel like I've been fortunate in some situations here to win twice, but also have been in a lot of crashes. And, up until this year in the 500, I had been in crashes for most of the time. So it just is trying to be a good drafter, try to make good decisions in the draft. I feel like I've learned a lot of things about side drafting and controlling the lanes, and I feel like that stuff has always come fairly natural to me, but just trying to evolve and be better at it. I feel like the next-gen car has changed the game in terms of being too wide and not being able to really create a third lane unless there's some fuel saving going on. So just trying to figure out how I can control my lane and not necessarily kind of move from, each lane as much. So it's just a different style, and fuel savings is a part of it now. So you have to be good at, you have to know the strategy to save fuel. That's what we did well in the 500. We were able to save fuel better than most, and I came out in the top 3 or 4 after every pit cycle, and then I could race from there. Mm-hmm.
We'll come down here to Lee and then to John.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. Looking forward to Darlington next week. You have a win and 4 top 10s in your last 4 starts. What is it about that place that you've really taken to?
I love Darlington. I just have always, I felt like since I was a rookie there, it was one of the tracks that clicked for me. I'm not really sure why, other than just the difficulty of it, kind of respecting the place. I do feel like I spent a lot of time as a kid watching races there, so kind of that visual memory of how to get around the place and knowing the cadence of it has always paid off. So I just really like the technical aspect of it. I feel like I have a place that I can live with the balance of the car that makes pretty good speed on the long run. And yeah, I just try to live by those things, and we're trying, I think we're going to be a little bit different this time around at Darlington as far as we've talked about, just because I felt like in the spring we were a top 5 car, but not very good on the short runs. So got to get better on the short runs, got to qualify a little bit better to have a shot, because we were really about a 4th or 5th place car, and then the race came down to a short run and we finished 6th, I believe. So just need to be a little bit better on the short runs.
And the regular season points kind of got jumbled last week with Larson going out so early. What did you and Rudy discuss as far as how you handle the next 2 races, just try to get max points to try to leapfrog over Reddick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're really, I mean, technically I guess we are in the race for the regular season, but I think we're really eyeing about 4th or 5th in points. So I think we moved up a spot because of the penalty, and I think we just gotta keep doing a good job. We didn't have a great Richmond, but I feel like that was kind of status quo for us. Really, we lost a chunk of points at Indy. We lost a really big chunk of points there because we had a top 4 or 5 car and was wrecked out early. So just trying to climb out of that hole. I think going in that race, we were only like 40 back, and then we were 90 back. So just trying to climb out of that hole and see if we can chip away at it and try to, like I said, if we can get a few stage wins and try to finish 4th or 5th, that's probably going to be realistic. Mm-hmm.
We'll go to John and then come down here to Claire.
John Newby, alt driver. So when you approach just this track in general, does it change your perspective having won the Daytona 500, or do you still view it as like, hey, I won my first career race here. This place is special for that reason, first and foremost?
You know, it was weird. Every time I came here after my first win, I mean, I liked coming here, but it didn't really click for me. Like I wasn't relieved or anything coming here. I was still super stressed just because of the nature of this place. But I do feel like this time coming around here, I'm super relaxed. And I think just the fact that this race, there's less pressure for us, not really worried about the playoffs. And we can just kind of enjoy the fact that we can reminisce on that win. So I think there's, at least for me, a lot more relaxation come down here. Not as worried about the outcome, but anything can happen. So I think that's coming here. I just have that in my head, and just knowing that the result could be bad, but just trying to put as much effort as I can in on Saturday night and do a good job drafting. And hopefully, stage 1 here is interesting. So I've thought about that, just the fact you don't have to save fuel. So I think you'll see a different style race and maybe some crashes in stage 1 because of the nature of how aggressive, you can be pushing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come down here to Claire and then go over to Bob.
Claire Belang, what about the right side window air deflector that's added here? And how much do you were talking about whether or not you pay attention to charter deals and whatnot, but how much do you pay attention when a car flips, and how much do you watch it, or do you just leave that to others?
Yeah, I heard Kyle Busch talking about the right side air deflector. It's really just a shark fin down the right side, I think. And I mean, he said it maybe adds some side force. So, I mean, maybe when we get to Kansas, we can test that out a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably going to change the air somehow around the car. Any aero change does. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit to learn. I guess when we go to Darlington, I don't know if it'll be on there, but there'll be something to learn there. As far as this week, I don't really worry about it. I don't think about that. But honestly, I knew that he had flipped, but I didn't see the replay during the race, so I assumed there was some contact that created it or something. But really just kind of running your own race, and thinking about that later. And once I saw it after the race and just seeing that he spun, on his own and flipped, it was definitely surprising. It is kind of odd that a car flipped the same way the day before in some ways. So I don't know if, there's something there in the track, a dip or something, but I don't know. I don't really think about it much outside of that.
Ty Gibbs said that with no practice, a little bit in qualifying, you might feel it or something, but you're just going to have to wing it, basically. He said wing it. Mm-hmm. But being a mere mortal here, do you feel, will you have to wait for people to tell you the data before you could tell any difference, or will you feel it, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably so small I probably won't feel it, but it, who knows, it might change the aero balance or something a little bit. I don't know. So we'll just have to see. But anytime there's any change on the car, it's gonna change something. So I assume it'll be a little bit of a shift. Mm-hmm.
We're going to go to Bob and then right behind him.
Bob Harkers, Fox Sports. after you saw maybe video of LaJoie's flip, are you glad that NASCAR did something, or you felt, and do you have any thoughts on whether this is the right way to go?
Yeah, I'm glad they did something, but I just don't really think about it. I mean, I just try to get myself as safe as possible in the car with all my stuff. I've been changing some stuff here and there to try to feel safer, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad they did something because it was pretty odd, and I don't know what that experience is like, but I'm sure it's not fun, especially with the issues you can have upside down if the car catches on fire, things like that. So yeah, I think it's good they looked at it and made a quick change and was proactive about it. That's always a good thing.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Since you mentioned change, did you make any changes related after the Indianapolis crash, or are you picking things up from what some other guys are experiencing now?
Yeah, I made some little changes in my car, really just kind of going back to what I ran last year with the Hans device. So yeah, just made that change, but it wasn't necessarily related to that. It was more comfort based, but yeah, I've always kind of tweaked things here and there just to try to balance comfort and safety. Anything, there's a lot of devices that can make you safe, but just trying to get as comfortable as possible.
Go ahead.
Anthony Damcott, frontstretch.com. William, this year, Daytona is not the regular season finale, whereas in years past it has been. Do you like that we're going to a track that's nowhere near as, where anything can happen like Daytona, or would you rather see Daytona as the regular season finale still going forward?
I don't know. I'm indifferent. I feel like I care more about what the playoff tracks are. I feel like when we were in that position in 2020, I mean, I don't want to be in that position again. It about gave me a heart attack, just the stress of it. So I feel like just leading into that race, going into a super speedway, I think we were 3 points out, and then ended up winning the race, and kind of points took care of themselves. But I don't envy that position. So I don't know. I mean, it's probably more entertaining for it to be the last race for sure. But as a competitor, I think it's nice to have Darlington because it's a crown jewel. It's going to have a lot of importance, but it's kind of going to give you that playoff tune-up per se that everyone's going to probably bring a lot of their best stuff and see what we have.
We'll go all the way to the left to Al.
Yeah, over here, William Al Pearson, Auto Week. From a convenience point of view and a finance point of view, is Bowman Gray better than going to California early in February every year?
I don't know. I mean, those fans are pretty rowdy, so I'm sure it's going to be a heck of a show. I don't know. I mean, I didn't mind the LA thing. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm sure it's a lot easier to go to Bowman Gray, personally, to drive up there. But yeah, whatever puts on a better show and is better for everybody. Mm-hmm.
Are there any final questions for William? We'll take one last one here with Lee.
The three races in the first round of the playoffs couldn't be any different, and I'm just wondering, how do you approach that, knowing that you're going, from something that runs like a super speedway to a road course to a short track?
Mm-hmm. Just race by race. I think it's going to be race by race because it's going to be chaotic in some ways. We don't know what to expect with tires at Bristol, and Atlanta is a can be a crapshoot. There's a lot that goes into running well at Atlanta, but you can always get in a crash up at the front, as we've seen with bad pushes and things. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be race by race and just seeing what points position you're in. The only one I feel really good about is Watkins Glen, based on last year and things. So I feel like our road course stuff is really good. So just got to see what happens. Mm-hmm.
All right, William. Thanks for your time today.
Appreciate
Good luck
it.
this weekend.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.